American History Ancient History Disaster. The Worst Avoidable Disasters in World History. Khalid El-Hassan, March 15, 2023. Disaster is likely if somebody shouts, "Fire!" in a crowded theater, which is why that is frowned upon, to say the least. But what if the theater actually is on fire? In one 19th century incident, a theater caught fire, but the crew decided to lie to the audience that all was fine, and that they should stay in their seats. The results were tragic. Below are 25 things about that disaster and other preventable catastrophes from history. The Brooklyn Theater's Washington Street entrance. New York Public Library. A 19th century theater disaster. On the night of December 5, 1876, about 1,000 playgoers were crammed into the Brooklyn Theater to enjoy The Two Orphans, one of the 19th century's more successful melodramas. All was normal until the intermission between the fourth and fifth acts, around 11 p.m. The curtain was down, and as the orchestra played, the actors and stage personnel prepared for the next act. As the theatergoers waited for the play to recommence, they heard shouts and what sounded like a brawl on the stage behind the lowered curtain. Little did they know that it was the start of a tragic disaster. How self-care can help you manage stress times. A lamp had set fire to some scenery off stage, and theater carpenters who first spotted the flames tried to beat out and smother it. That did not work, and the fire spread. As the curtains rose for the final act, backstage employees tried to bring the fire under control. At this point, the most commonsensical course of action would have been to tell the audience to exit the theater, since it was on fire and all. However, some folk overthought things. They figured that telling the theatergoers about the fire could cause a panicked rush to the exits and lead to disaster. So they decided to downplay the danger, and brought about an even greater disaster. How to be a better human times. A lamp had set fire to some scenery off stage, and theater carpenters who first spotted the flames tried to beat out and smother it. That did not work, and the fire spread. As the curtains rose for the final act, backstage employees tried to bring the fire under control. At this point, the most commonsensical course of action would have been to tell the audience to exit the theater, since it was on fire and all. However, some folk overthought things. They figured that telling the theatergoers about the fire could cause a panicked rush to the exits and lead to disaster. So they decided to downplay the danger, and brought about an even greater disaster. The Brooklyn Theater fire. Pinterest. Advertisement. Continue reading below. Shouting, "Fire!" in a crowded theater is bad, unless the theater is actually on fire. As flames spread backstage in the Brooklyn Theater, some crew members decided that the greater danger was not the fire, but panic among the audience. So the actors continued their performance, and downplayed the risk. As the fire spread, two actors urged the audience to stay in their seats. As the smoke and flames became obvious, a theatergoer yelled, "Fire! Fire! The house is on fire!" Lead actress Kate Claxton tried to calm things down, and stated, "There is no danger. The flames are part of the play." No sooner had she said that, than a piece of burning wood fell at her feet, and she screamed in terror as she jumped back. The audience reacted with the very panic that the crew had sought to prevent. Those in the balcony stampeded for the stairs, and many were crushed in the process. The building did not have enough exits to swiftly evacuate 1,000 panicked theatergoers. To relieve the pressure, an usher opened a rarely used backstage door. Some managed to escape that way, but it worsened the disaster. It increased the airflow to the stage and fed the fire, which swiftly grew in intensity. Those in the cheap seats highest up had it worst of all. They were trapped in dark foyers and difficult to navigate stairs. Backstage, some actors made it out, but others stopped at the dressing rooms to change, were trapped, and perished in the disaster. Many fell to their deaths from the balconies, were crushed, suffocated from the smoke, or were burned to death. The official tally of the disaster was 278 deaths, but some accounts reported more than 300 fatalities. Thanks for watching.